Four Nights of the Apocalypse Chapter 131 is out in Japan. And I'd emphasize in Japan, because the day of me recording, when we were supposed to get the actual English translation of the chapter, K-Manga said that there was going to be a delay in the official translation for the manga from 131 to 133, and including breaks from this month and next month, we won't be getting a full-on English translation until chapter 134 on January 17th, which is unfortunate for us that support the manga officially. However, I will be using fan translations so I can talk about the manga in a way that will actually make people understand what's going on, and so I can continue to talk about the manga as is. And this was a really good chapter, really building up the hype for the time skip. But we will most likely be getting fan translations until the official comes back. So let's thank the fan translators who were quick to jump on this and get a chapter translated for the rest of us to read. But with all that out of the way, let's get right into the video. But first, if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel. Also, we just broke 7K subs, so thank you all so much. I am hoping we make it to close to 8K by the end of the year. It would be wild if we did, meaning that I can go above 10K early next year if we maintain this consistency. But anyways, on to the chapter. Chapter 131 of Four Nights of the Apocalypse, titled Looking for Hope, with Pelgard and Ironside as the characters in the cover with Camelot in the background. Always a treat to see Pelgard, but Ironside, I don't want him around. So we start off with this chapter with the first panel up top being basically a spread of the Kingdom of Camelot, showcasing just how vast it truly is, as Pelgard and Ironside, along with the third knight, teleport back into Camelot, as Pelgard and Ironside remove their helmets, with Ironside just bashing this third random knight, saying, "Why did you make us come back? That was unnecessary." But Pelgard says, "Look, don't put the blame on him. I was the one that gave the order to retreat. We had no choice but to withdraw from that fight. You would have died for sure if we kept going." Ironside, being Ironside and overconfident, says that, "Are you saying I'm not powerful enough to stand against the sins? Don't underestimate me. Once I fight him once again, I will surely." As then the third knight chimes in and says, "I'm afraid to say that despite us being ordered to not involve ourselves with them, I made use of my magic on Bond." And it's then revealed that this knight's magic is called Weakness. And this lowered Bond's original power level to 1/10 of what it was. Meaning that Bond was only using 10% of his overall strength and completely decimated Ironside and nearly killed him with a single blow. Which is crazy to think about, and implies to us that, well, if Bond wasn't being weakened by this ability, Ironside would be dead by now. Which is honestly a shame that that did not happen, but also makes a good narrative excuse for why Ironside tanked a hit from basically the strongest man alive right now. I find that very crazy, and I do like this explanation, as I think we were all expecting them to be strong, but the perils, I wasn't really hoping for them to be on the level of the Sins. They're more so opponents for the Four Knights to face before facing Arthur. So yeah, I wasn't going to expect them to hold a candle to the Sins, but this is just another level of information that I'm like, you know what? Makes a lot of sense, especially since this is Bond we're talking about. But moving on, Ironside is in full-on shock and disbelief, being like, "That's impossible. Was I really fighting an actual monster right there?" Ironside goes on to say that the 7 deadly sins really are fearsome. It's no wonder His Majesty told us not to face them. As then a fourth knight appears, stating, "Are you done licking your wounds, you losers?" As walking towards them is the third member of the four perils, the four evils, Bertolope. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he is the Green Knight, which, I have to say, in my actual predictions video for the time skip before Nights of the Apocalypse, in that thumbnail, I told my thumbnail artist just random colors for the four perils that weren't, for the other two members of the four perils that didn't have colors. One of them being Bertolope, and I said green, and holy crap, I was actually right with the colors? Am I psychic, or did I just guess rightly? I guess right, and it's just crazy for something so minor to just actually happen. Anyway, he goes on to say that Arthur is in a foul mood right now, and that it's in Ironside's best interest to go to the castle at once. As he goes on to say, I thought we were specifically reminded to not get involved with the sins. As he goes on to ask the question, kind of, tauntingly, did you really think that you were going to stand on equal footing with the sins? How about you give it a try, huh? As Ironside is, pissed, and probably is going to try and, give him a piece of his mind, as Pelgar's like, alright guys, don't fight, just ignore him, let's get your wounds treated. As he carries Ironside, presumably to a healing mage before going off to see Arthur. And so the third knight is like, so what about me? And so Bortlep basically tells him to hunt down remnants. Essentially find any knight of prophecy or their comrades who have been infiltrating Camelot for the last 2 years, ambushing and counterattacking them, and eliminate them no matter what. And that they're going to produce wanted posters from Orlandi's visual information and to notify the surrounding areas. Which, actually really cool piece of information, because something I was wondering with the last 2 chapters. After Percival's death, did they actually go ahead with the mission to infiltrate Camelot, or did they all return home? I know Lancelot returned home thanks to Bond's flashback, but did the rest of the knights or some of the other characters, like Percival's group, basically become like pseudo-spies in the Kingdom of Camelot, basically hindering their advances from the inside in finding out the lay of the land over the past 2 years? That is very cool to see. We then cut to an old couple as they're enjoying their day, as the lady's like, don't you go anywhere ever again, my darling. Just stay with me forever, as it's as though you being dead was all a dream, as it's implied that the old man died before she came to Camelot. As the old man replies, yes, forever. Now we start going up to the top of a mountain in Camelot, where a man and a little girl end up going up the mountain, as it's revealed that they're brother and sister. The brother states that, I'm sure once we get over this peak, we'll go back to Britannia. His sister says that she wants us to live in Camelot forever, and asks if you like being with her. But the brother says, look, we're family, I love being with you, and I thought you had gone away from the fire. I'm get to be with you again, implying that the girl had died in a fire before he came to Camelot. And he goes on to say that he's really thankful for Arthur in essentially bringing his sister back. But he says that their mother is still waiting for them over in Britannia. As he says, there's something weird about this world. As he goes on to say that only I am aging up, and you kept the appearance of the day you died, showing us an image of the boy when he first appeared in Camelot, with the girl being the exact same as she looks right now. The girl starts to tear up, asking if she's weird, but the brother says, no, you're not. We'll go see a doctor and they'll heal you. Basically thinking that it's some sort of disease, or it's something that Camelot is implying to stunt her growth or whatever. So they go over the edge, as they then see this giant maelstrom, wondering what it is. It could be the exit of Camelot, or it could just be some dark abyss, for all we know. So really quick, just want to state, remember early in the series, when we went to Dolph-Flair, where we had, I think his name was Ardberg or something like that, when he encountered Percival and his team at the Demon Village, the main reason why he was recruited by Arthur was because Arthur promised to essentially bring back his daughter. And so, the promise of getting back the people that they care about is the main thing that Arthur has been promising to people throughout the entire series, especially in his appearance in the Leonis arc, stating that if you come with me, you'll see the loved ones you've lost during the Holy War. And with this, it literally states that Arthur is basically bringing back the dead, in a sense, here in Camelot. But based on what the brother is saying, these people are not aging. They're remaining the same way they were that these people have last saw them. Like his sister, remaining the same age and appearance as she was the day that she died. So, these are almost likely very realistic illusions created by Chaos, or maybe he did revive them in seemingly eternally youthful bodies or unaging bodies, but they can only exist in Camelot. That is my full-on thing. I'm curious to see if they'll be able to survive outside of Camelot, but that's something to find out later. As they reach the edge, they're engaged by another Chaos Knight. As he basically says, are you planning to leave this ideal world? In that case, it's a grave breach of trust towards Arthur, His Majesty. As he says, you'll be dragged to the cauldron on Wifnin. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly at all, saying that you need to be given some education. It is then that a feather floats in the air, as then the Chaos Beast and the knight are slashed at a multitude of high-speed directions all over the place, as he's wondering if it's a remnant of one of the prophesized knights. He then uses his chain to wrap up this speedy figure, as it's a hooded figure on top of a flying horse. The knight says that their ability is called Predator, and that it transforms anything it holds into a savage beast, and gives them temporary life. And that now that the chain has this person, they will never let go until they're strangled to death, as the chain begins to tighten around this mysterious figure. But this figure then goes on to say, "The Cauldron Anemifnin, a prison for people who hold doubts about Camelot or deny it. If you don't mind, could you tell me its precise location and the method to break out of it?" The Chaos Knight says, "What do you think the situation you're in is like right now? You don't have the right to ask me a question," as they are then pushed down onto the ground with intense force, seemingly passed out from the impact, as the knight is now no longer in their cloak as it's ripped off with the rest of the chain falling off. This knight goes on to say, "In the event of the target not answering my question, or lying in answering it despite knowing the truth, they will be crushed to the ground. This is my magic, Interrogator." As we then see that the person on this Pegasus is on Galahad. That's right, Best Girl On is back in the story. And oh my god, was this a really cool reveal. We got Bon in the first 2 chapters of the time skip, and now we're getting on Galahad. It is a really nice reveal, showcasing her mastery of her ability, how she basically took out a Chaos Knight, no issue right now. Also, really liking her post-time skip design, and I hope we keep it because it's a lot better than the design that we had, or at least the costume we had of On pre-time skip in the middle of Leonis and the Demon Realm arc. And it showcased that this Pegasus is obviously Sylvain. He went through a Chatification somehow, which honestly really cool. He's not a goofy looking horse. He fits the stallion of Best Girl. The brother and sister thank On as he asks for her name, as she introduces herself as On Galahad, member of the Knights of the Apocalypse, Percival's group, with the chapter ending and the next chapter being titled The One Who Resists. Man, that was a great chapter. In all honesty, I was not expecting to cut to Camelot and then get more of Camelot, some answers with it, and the reveal of one of Percival's friends, that being on Galahad. Honestly, if you're going to introduce one of the Percival platoon, it would have to be On, because she was the most skilled fighter, in seeing her post-time skip, not only getting an actual mastery of her abilities, but also gives it a proper name, and showcasing her skills against a fodder Chaos Knight, showcasing no effort in taking them down, which I am all too happy for. She was the right choice to showcase the strength, meaning next chapter, or in the following chapters, we'll mostly get to meet Nazienz and Donnie. Maybe we'll see Tristan and his group, or maybe Gawain is with Percival's friends, helping them out, since they were originally supposed to be the group going to the Fairy King's Forest together. I have no clue, and there's so much for me to speculate on for what's happening. But this basically confirms that over the last 2 years, at least on Galahad and maybe Nazienz and Donnie, at the bare minimum, perhaps even Gawain, since she does have some knowledge of Camelot to an extent, and her abilities would be very useful in like evasion and hit and run tactics, which makes sense for how they were able to avoid detection for 2 whole years. And I'm very curious to see what exactly they have been doing to hinder Arthur's invasion, despite him advancing so much in the last 2 years. And I wonder how everyone looks post-time skip and how they've grown stronger. But yeah, that was the chapter. I'm hyped for it. We got some more answers for Camelot. We got to see the 3rd of the 4 perils. And we get to see On here in the present day, looking amazing, looking strong. And I cannot wait to see the rest of the main cast. But what did you guys think? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.